On behalf of the Office of the State Superintendent of Education and the Adult and Family Education team, in partnership with the University of the District of Columbia, we welcome you back to the last session on the last day of our 3-day Spring 2022 Mini Professional Development Institute that's been focused on the building blocks for education, training, and workforce providers on how to strengthen the college and career readiness aspects of your program. Our presenters today are Danny Scherer and Kathleen O'Connell of World Education, and we thank them in advance for sharing their expertise with DC providers and partners today and Monday. This session is part two of two on integrating career awareness into program design and delivery. The handouts for today are posted in the Wakelet, and I will put that link in the chat momentarily. We are recording these sessions so that we can share them widely with the DC community. So we would appreciate it if you would please keep your cameras off and unmute yourself while the presenters are speaking. But please know that there will be lots of opportunities for attendees to participate and share verbally by unmuting or by putting information in the chat or in the Jamboard and other ways. We will be posting the videos and handouts on the OSSI website at ossi.dc.gov and have been doing so in the Wakelet as the week has gone on. Please plan to join us for another Mini Professional Development Institute that we'll be holding on June 6th, 7th, and 8th. That will be on the topic of student persistence and working with our World Education colleagues again. We now hand you over to the presenters.
Great. Thank you so much. And welcome to Integrating Career Awareness into Program Design and Service Delivery, Part 2 of 2. My name is Kathleen O'Connell, and I'm from World Education. So today, for this session, since we're talking about career exploration and planning today, we thought we could reflect on how did you find your current job. So if you wouldn't mind adding your name and program and your role to the chat, and then answer question number 4. How did you find your current job? So do we have some responses in the chat there, Danny? I'm sorry, I cannot see the chat, folks.
Yeah, well, if people are like me, they might not be able to remember how they found their current job. So I imagine it might take them a second to remember. But we have people introducing themselves. And so if you want to introduce yourself and your role and how you found your current job. So Cheryl says, I was recruited, and Nakia says networking. And Isaiah Davis at Catholic Charities also found their current job through networking. I'm adding mine. I found mine on a listserv that I was part of, and I thought I'd give it a go, and here I am. Kathleen, how about you?
I was recruited. Yeah, actually. So that was my first time. Very exciting.
It is exciting. And then we have Alethea, who says a colleague referred me to their current job. How about others? Introduce yourself. You can tell us your role that you have right now too. We know we have people from kind of a variety of settings: workforce development, adult education, and community college. So let us know, where you're working, like Isaiah did with community Catholic Charities. And if you can remember how you got that job, let us know. Was it, did you do a search? Did you do some career exploration, or did somebody come and find you? Let us know. We have Dana says a colleague referral, prior employee was a friend referral. So that happens a lot, right? That's a reality. And I think that kind of gives me a little bit of motivation for one of our current topics today, which is equity, and thinking about some of our students and clients. Maybe some of them don't have those referrals, but we still want to make sure they have access to all the possible jobs that might fit their interests and their needs.
Yes, good point. Okay, why don't we move on and introduce ourselves, and we can continue to check the chat. I'll start. Kathleen O'Connell, I'm a project coordinator at World Education, which is located in Boston. I'm the English Now and Workplace Education project coordinator, and I've done a lot of work with ESOL, English for Speakers of Other Languages, learners, and way back in the past, I did HSE and math. So I've sort of done a lot of different teaching in adult education. How about you, Danny?
Yeah, so I'm curriculum and PD specialist at World Education, and the National College Transition Network is a center of expertise at World Education. We provide professional development and technical assistance for community college, workforce development, and adult education systems. And yeah, similar to Kathleen, and maybe similar to many of you, I taught ESOL, I taught ABE and HiSET, I did some advising and coaching, and some project coordination in adult education before coming to World Ed.
Great. Do you have anything else from the chat that we should?
No, but we have had a few people join us. So if you're just joining us, put your name and your role into the chat. And if you can remember, tell us how you found your current job.
Great. Okay. So let's see, Danny's gonna lead off with the objectives and agenda for today.
Great. So for today, we're focusing again on integrating career awareness. But this morning we focused on self-exploration tools and approaches. And this afternoon, we're going to focus more on the career exploration and career planning pieces. We also wanted to provide more examples of what it actually looks like to integrate this alongside academic objectives, employability skills, and integrate it throughout your program. So you'll see on the left-hand side, our objectives are again to talk about the benefits of integrating career awareness. And then you are going to also become away with ideas for integrating the exploration and the planning tools into your programming. And the way we're going to do that is, again, pretty interactive. So we are going to start off with a recap of this morning. So I see some familiar names joining us. So this will be a little familiar to you. And if you weren't in the morning session, you can get a quick recap of that. And then we want to focus a little bit on equity for a minute. We want to talk about how doing integrated career awareness actually helps our students and clients address the systemic barriers in our workforce system. And then Kathleen's going to share an example of how to integrate one of the career awareness exploration tools. And then you yourself are going to also look at the career exploration tools and come up with some more ideas for not just how to use them, but for how to integrate them. And I think then we'll just wrap up and reflect at the end, as we have been doing. A few notes about technology for today. First of all, do let me know if my voice gets quiet, because I've been told I need to yell a little bit in order for you to hear me. So just put it into the chat if my voice gets quiet. And this is an interactive session. You will be asked to unmute at a few points if you would like, and otherwise remain muted. Please raise your hand or post questions into chat at absolutely any point. We are not going to do any breakout rooms, but we have, again, 2 activities where you will open a separate document. So one is a Jamboard, as we did this morning. And again, at the end of the session, you'll open a Google Doc. That seemed to work well this morning, so I'm hoping, again, nobody has any access issues. I think that's it. Anything to add, Kathleen?
No, I just want to be sure that everyone can see the screen okay, that everyone is seeing the slide deck.
Yeah, maybe give us a thumbs up or a heart if you can see the slide deck okay. And Stacy, you can let us know if people are giving us a thumbs up, because we can't see that.
Yes, lots of thumbs up.
I
actually
Okay.
can see David's thumbs up in the chat, so that's good.
Okay, great. Let's move on then.
Okay, so if you were, oh, no, that,
Sorry.
now I'm only seeing myself.
Just, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
All right, that
How's
looks good
that?
to
Yeah.
me. If you were in this morning's session, this looks familiar to you. The reason that I have grayed out the self-exploration piece is just because we covered that phase this morning. And we're going to now focus on career planning and career exploration. Now, just a few reminders about this cycle. It isn't necessarily linear, even though we show them as a process. Students can enter at any phase of the cycle, but we do consider these three components to be essential to giving students and clients the full range of information and tools that they need to find jobs that fit their needs and interests. We believe that this career awareness work isn't something that students should do once they have achieved a certain level of academic readiness or language readiness, but instead should be integrated throughout all levels of students' language, academic, literacy, and numeracy development. We are going to share some tools and activities, but we don't want to focus just on the tools and activities. We want to focus on how you can integrate it alongside your other objectives. So that's just a reminder of the career awareness cycle. And we want to share some of the things you said to us this morning. So this morning, we looked at a few different self-assessment quizzes, interest assessments, skills assessments, different self-exploration tools and activities. Some of them we pulled from a resource that we're sharing with you called Integrating Career Awareness, a big curriculum guide. And you looked at those and we asked you to come up with ways that you would not just use those activities, but actually integrate them along the lines of academic skill development, workplace readiness development, and also throughout your programming. We pulled 3 examples from that Google Doc that we wanted to share with you because they illustrate that integration. So Beth talked about using the foundation skills self-appraisal. And then while students do that self-appraisal, they could come up with examples of transferable skills related to that specific industry, for example, healthcare or childcare. And then Beth also talked about integrating numeracy, right? So students can work in groups or individually to graph how they answered those questions and then talk about the results of the data. So you're achieving 2 objectives, right? Career awareness and also building numeracy skills. Not to mention, it looks like Beth's also talking about a lot of teamwork here, right? You see that, Kathleen?
Mm-hmm.
So teamwork as an employability skills, which leads me into Anita's example. So Anita talked about using the ONET profiler, which I imagine most of you are familiar with. And having students think about the skills that they have and passionate about a particular subject matter. Then Anita is imagining using, integrating the results of that from the group into discussing possible careers and then take the assessment to see if they are on target. Okay, so I see what Anita is saying here. They would start with kind of a group activity discussing possible careers and then take the interest profiler and see if their predictions match up, right? So they're doing some teamwork and some communication, some self-awareness skills, some metacognition, and integrating it with career awareness. And then finally, we asked you to think of ways that you can integrate this throughout your programming. So not just have students complete an assessment and that's done, you don't look at it again, but actually build it more sustainably into the program. And Nkosi talked about utilizing the skills self-assessment, self-appraisal at the beginning. So when they're enrolling and maybe during orientation, but not stopping there, actually doing it 3 months into their journey and possibly on a quarterly basis. Okay, so those are beautiful examples of integration. Kathleen, anything you want to add about these examples?
No, not really. I think you did a great job covering that, and we'll have a chance again. I hope that this kind of gets people thinking, so that later on, when we look at some additional resources, some of these ideas might jog your creative impulses.
Exactly. Okay, so we mentioned that we're going to focus on equity, and what we wanted to say here is, in our work, we believe that integrating career awareness at all levels is part of an equitable approach to how we work with learners and clients. But we want to hear from you about how you see this work as being connected to helping learners address some of the barriers in the system, some of the barriers they experience in their own life, and creating a more equitable approach to the workforce for your clients and students. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to have you add some examples to a Jamboard. So I am going to share the link to that into the chat. So I will ask everyone to go into the chat and open up the Jamboard. And Kathleen, if you want to show them what that looks like.
This is the Jamboard. So when you open it, there are actually 2 pages to it. It's possible that you'll open it on this is this morning's page, which is great. We'd love you to have that as well and have a chance to look at that. But right now we're going to be looking at page 2. So you just use these little arrows at the top to move between the pages. And I see that we have a lot of people joining us, or a lot of a squirrel and deer and sorts of critters. So to use this, you're going to go over here to the left and click on sticky note. And then once you have the sticky note, you can add your comment. I'm going to add the same comment that I added earlier. And then you hit save. And that's it. And then cancel if you don't have more, but feel free to add more than one sticky note. If anyone has questions about that, please let us know. So again, you're going to go over here to sticky note. So that's the 4th one down on the left, 4th symbol.
That's great. So we have helps learners and clients find out what they are passionate about for a career, right? So that helps them become aware of the range of opportunities that they might not otherwise know about. So, the reason we started off by asking you about how you found your job is because, sometimes we find jobs because our family members and friends do those jobs. And it might not be that we know about all the possible jobs that are available to us, and we only know about what our friends and family are doing. So this career exploration work helps them, find out about more, to that person's point. Someone else says, help students learn about the careers to make decisions that are right for him or her. Exactly. How
Right.
else can this work promote equity for your learners and help them to address some of the barriers?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing your options creates doors to opportunities. Exactly.
Right. And going back to the sticky note, help learners and clients find out what they're passionate about for a career. people are much more likely to do well and succeed in a career that they're passionate about, rather than just sort of taking the first job that comes along because that's what they've thought they should be doing.
Great. Equity to me is when all learners, regardless of where they live in the city, can have the same access. Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. So part of the career exploration piece is knowing where jobs exist and where trainings exist. So connecting also to the trainings and the certification programs that are going to match up with that person's interests and needs. Address cultural differences in applying to jobs between the US and students' home countries. There are often huge differences. Absolutely. To that person with the blue sticky note, I think that's a really important piece, especially when we're working with people who have professional experience in another country. They are facing a lot of potential employer bias, even though they have extensive professional experience. And some of that comes from helping them to prepare for the US workplace and the norms and some of the expectations that they might not be familiar with, but also maybe helping them acknowledge that there is some systemic bias against people with accents, against people who come from other countries and don't, share the same culture as that's predominant in the workplace. So that's a really great point.
There's another
Right.
one.
Allow us to address possible barriers such as transportation so that learners can find a job they are passionate about, even if it is a little farther away. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is a really good one. Or other needs that people have, whether it's childcare. They need childcare in order to attend certain classes. So to the extent that we as programs could do that, or that we can help learners do that. And I must say now that so many classes are offered online, that has been a help, I think, to people. But then we need to make sure that people have the computers or other digital devices that they need, and the skills, right, to attend those online classes. But yes, in terms of trainings, for sure, address those barriers. Hey,
Great. So
this is a great list.
Yeah, this is. You can definitely continue to add to this. I think we'll go back to the slides. A few more points on equity is we know that the labor market is rapidly changing. We want to make sure that our learners and clients, just like everyone else, has access to the trainings that's going to help them to navigate those pieces. And make sure they have the employability skills to move between jobs rapidly as they may need to. All right, so I think we'll move on, being grounded in why we're doing this and how we're helping to address some of those barriers. So something we asked you in the morning is, which of these pieces and activities are you already doing with your students and clients, and which ones do you want to do more of? Just focusing here on career exploration and career planning. So Kathleen, if you want to go back to the Jamboard and actually go to the first slide, we can see what people said in the morning about things that they're doing already and things that they want to do more of. So I don't know if anybody wants to add to this, but we'll see in terms of the career exploration, people are connecting to the American Job Centers, but for example, on the right-hand side with the sticky note, people would like to do more job fairs. People would like to do more financial planning. So
that was a big one. We saw that come up over and over again. And I think we've all seen that is when, oftentimes a learner could, decides that they want to go to a certain training, but then it turns out they can't work and attend the training or something like that. And so, you know, our job is to, one, find trainings that kind of fit their schedule, but also, yeah, I mean, that can be a tough one. And, you know, I'll get on my high horse, and I love to see trainings that provide some sort of compensation so that people can attend them.
That would help.
Yeah, union trainings do that.
So to move into the integrating part of this, when you look at all these activities on your screen right here, ask yourself, when you do these on the left-hand side as well, at least, which is what you do well, do you integrate them alongside teaching academic readiness skills, workplace readiness skills, and throughout your program? Or do you do these in isolation from those other components of your program? Because that's really our objective for today, is the value and benefit of not doing them in isolation. So we will go back to our slides and go to the next slide. In the morning, we asked you and kind of shared what are the benefits of integrating career awareness instead of doing it separately. And I think in the interest of time, we're going to share some of those instead of asking you, but if anyone wants to put into the chat, why integrate? Why actually go through the trouble of integrating it? You can take a second and put any of the, if you remember from this morning, what are the benefits of integrating it? You can put that into the chat. And I think we'll waterfall through some of these, Kathleen, if you want to forward. Okay, they all came. They all came in. So as a reminder, it helps with engagement and persistence to be connected to students' goals around career goals. Helps you to simultaneously achieve academic objectives as well as workplace readiness objectives. It aids in program-wide support to student support, so students feel like not just one teacher or one moment is helping them address career awareness, but it's integrated throughout advisors, teachers, coordinators. And students can enter at any phase and any level and not wait until they have achieved a certain CASA score or achieved their high school equivalency. So that's why we do it. That's why we integrate it.
Do we have anything in the chat about from our
No, but
participants?
feel free to add to the chat other benefits of integrating, but I think we'll move on to the examples.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so for those of you who are in the morning session, this will be a reminder, but I think hopefully we have some new folks here this afternoon. So there are essentially what we are talking about is 3 ways to integrate career awareness, and that's one through, you know, while you're also building academic and language objectives. Second way is while you're also developing essential workplace and personal skills. And the third way is through programming and with students at all levels. Now, for number one possibility is that you integrate career exploration into your reading unit by reading about a career. You could analyze labor market trends in math, such as what Beth mentioned this morning. Conversely, you can flip it the other way. In your career planning course, you could integrate the skills your learners need to better understand the reading materials, for instance. Maybe they're missing vocabulary. For the second one, while developing essential workplace and personal skills, transferable skills. So we're talking about like critical thinking, teamwork, digital literacy, that sort of thing. So this can be taught in the context of career exploration and planning. You could teach explicitly navigating websites, letting learners know that this is what they're doing, that as they are moving through a website and you've assigned them to, find a particular part of the website, that is a skill, and name it for them. You could devise a pre and post assessment for them so that they can see their progress and feel more confident that they actually have this skill. And let them know that these transferable essential skills will put them in good stead as they move into the workplace or move into another role in the workplace. And then if you are a program director or coordinator, you could think about how you could integrate programming throughout the program and with students at all levels. Like, do you have all your learners set goals, for instance? You think about what skills your learners need to succeed in the workplace. And so could you include those, not only in your career planning workshops, but then also make sure that the teachers are teaching that as learners move through your program. Okay, now I'm going to show you this resource, NEPRIS. So this is a resource that we have linked to on the Google Doc, which we will share with you again shortly. So NEPRIS, it offers students the opportunity to learn about different careers through videos and industry chats, and actually it provides live access, through the web, live access to industry experts. So it can help job seekers and your students build personal connections. And so for many learners, as they come to this website, it's the first time that they have been able either, to speak directly with someone or to hear directly, such as in a video like we're going to watch, with someone in a line of work that they have, maybe they've just learned about this. So this is a way for students to, not only build social capital, but also to learn more about the various careers. So as we look at this video, I'm going to show you the NEPRIS video library. Think about ways that you might integrate academic curricula, transferable skills, or use it across the program as we're watching it, and we'll have a few minutes to talk about that. So let's see, here we go. Okay, I'll click here. So this is the NEPRIS video library. And NEPRIS has a lot else on it. It's definitely a website worth looking into. So we are going to look at this video, which is about careers in the medical device industry. I had to sign in here. It was very quick and it's free. So let's see. Can you hear this?
Division, or the manufacturing subsidiary of Globus Medical. We are basically a medical implant device manufacturer. So in the short, we make the plates and screws and spacers that go in your arm or your leg or your spine, should you have a deformity or you have a fracture.
Wait,
So we kind of make those plates and screws that go inside the body. About 30% of what we make in this building here is plates and expandable spine spacers. The other 70% of what we make here is actually screws. Because if you look at the plates that we make here, for every plate there's probably 7 to 10 or 15 different screws that go into each plate. At this point, if you guys are all right, I'd like to put a little video up on the screen and show you a little bit about the company and give you a brief video of what the shop looks like as well.
The thing I like best about working at Globus is that everything's under one roof, from engineering to the guys in the shop and everything in between. we're all here working for the same goal, and it gives you a real sense of community. It's very well lit and clean.
It's temperature regulated. It's also bright, and it kind of has a lighter feeling to it than a lot of other shops, which are very dark.
It's very dynamic. It's very challenging. One thing I like about working here is the people that I work with. We're all a really friendly, helpful bunch, and that's really, really, really important.
Okay. So now we're back to the slides.
Yes, that was, I
Okay.
just realized that was a video within a video within a video.
Yeah. And you could see the classroom there. So that was a live class who was meeting that guy, and he showed them a video. So you can do that. You can set this up with your program to do that through Nepris. So as you were watching that video, I know it was a short clip, but did you come up with any thoughts about how you might use this video in a lesson that also builds academic skills? Actually, we should have added here transferable skills, or how you might use it across your program. So if somebody would like to unmute, you could do that, or you could add your thoughts in the chat.
So I was thinking, Kathleen, that one thing we could do was make sure that they knew about all the vocabulary that might be used in that video as a way to build vocabulary and language through this activity.
Yep. So pre-teach vocabulary. I knew Danny was going to say that. Any other ideas out there? Okay, so we'll load some. So students could generate questions while they're watching. I mean, prior to watching and while they're watching. I think both are very useful.
Kathleen, there's something in the chat.
Yeah.
Beth says students could write a script for their own program's video.
Oh, that's great. That's very creative.
And
yes.
Cheryl says you can use this video to introduce the field to learners, right? So the whole field of maybe medical device manufacturing. So Cheryl, maybe that's what you're thinking, use this as a starting off point to talk about other related careers.
Right. Okay. And then they could read about other careers. So building those reading skills. One thought was to, if you know the KWL graphic organizer, that what do you know, what do you want to know, what did you learn as you're watching the video or as you're meeting this person. Now here is read about the career, build reading skills, compare and contrast with other sector career videos. Any more?
That's it.
Okay, and then the last one, which Danny and I are big on, ask reflection questions to build self-awareness. Ask yourself, what I noticed in that video is they talked a lot about the working conditions of the place, that it was well lit, that it was clean, that organized, and those are the sorts of things learners need to be thinking about. Like what is the building or is my workplace actually going to be like? So they kind of touched on that. So, okay, great. Moving on to smart goal setting. Danny.
Yes, so smart goal setting is another part of the career planning. So not just exploration, but helping students to make those plans. This morning, somebody said in the right-hand side of the Jamboard, something they want to do more of is helping students create short and long-term goals. So career planning is a way that you could actually integrate and share students' goals across your programming. So Kathleen, if you want to advance, the question is, how can you use this to build a more program-wide approach to career exploration? So again, please feel free to add some ideas to the chat about how you could use students' own SMART goals. Maybe you do SMART goals, maybe you just do a goal-setting activity of your very own. How can you do that to bring more pieces of the program together or create more collaboration between instructors, advisors, case managers, whatever it may be. Kathleen, do you have any ideas for how you could use this?
Well, this one that I think this is what I was thinking, teach goal setting at every class level. I've taught very beginning level classes, and you can start with goals. So the sooner the better. Share goals. So this one, Danny, this was yours. Share goals. So share the students' goals among the teachers, advisors, and coordinators. Use goals to inform curricula, right? So you can make sure that if your students are interested in certain types of jobs, the more that you can teach about that work, the better. They're building language skills and other skills for that.
Yeah,
and
and build in time for advising meetings. Yeah, this is great. Thank you. So we wanted to give you a taste of actual examples for how to integrate, but we still know this is a pretty bird's eye view, and that, you might be doing some of these things, you might have some of these tools, you might want more ideas from your colleagues, as well as from this Google document. So we're going to spend the next 10 minutes actually in the Google document, where you can look at the tools we've compiled for you, similar to this morning, but about a different topic this time, career exploration as opposed to self-exploration. And also, if you scroll down, career planning. So Kathleen, if you want to open up that orange link, and we'll put it into the chat for people as well. This is the Google document that you will go into. And you'll see listed on the left-hand side a few different tools, ONET, which somebody already mentioned, for doing career exploration. And then if you scroll down even farther, there's a few tools for goal setting and career planning. So choose just one of these to look at more closely. And don't look at more than one. I mean, the point here is not to use all of these tools. The point is just to use a few chosen ones and to integrate them. So choose one that you want to look at, and then you'll see, like I have in the example here, you can add your name. And Kathleen, if you want to add your name to show how people can add comments about how they would integrate, your real task is to write a sentence about how you would integrate this into your existing programming. So you'll see NEPRIS is there, which Kathleen just showed you. So just choose one of these that piques your interest. And
Or maybe I'll put my name under NEPRIS.
Yeah. You can add your ideas.
Yeah. And this, of course, you'll have plenty of time. You'll be taking this with you, so you'll have all the time in the world to take a look at each of these resources at your leisure.
So we will be here if you have any questions, if you have any trouble accessing this. But right now, explore one of these and then write a sentence with your name about how you would integrate it.
Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see 8 people in here, but that includes us, I think. So is there anyone who's having trouble getting into this document or figuring out? So you can see on my screen that I have several different tabs open, and that's probably what's going to happen for you. You'll have a little blue tab here with the Google Doc, and then we'll go back to the yellow here, integrating career awareness, afterwards.
So you can write your name to claim your space in one of these if you're, still exploring one of them and you want to claim a space to write your integration ideas. So we have about 6 more minutes to do this. So if you're still exploring one of the tools here, that is just fine. But in the next few minutes, think about writing your integration idea. And remember, you can scroll down to the career planning. So I see someone down in the goal setting tools talking about integration ideas.
Right. And if somebody is in the block, you can just, create space underneath them. I'm doing that for the ones where somebody's already written, just in case somebody else wants to use that space. Yeah, and I think, Danny, we have at least 4 more minutes, right? We can. Is there anyone who was not in this and would like the Microsoft Word version? Has that been added to the chat?
No, but it can be if someone requests it.
Wonder if anybody has looked at excuse me, Road Trip Nation.
Okay, so if you haven't added a sentence, maybe just add one quick idea, or even just add your name to something you looked at. So if you're the chipmunk and you looked at Road Trip Nation, maybe just add your name to the right-hand column. We'd love to hear what you saw and what you liked. So we have about 1 more minute to add your name to the right-hand column, if you'd like. Okay, so you can definitely keep typing and adding to this document. It'd be nice to hear from a few people about your ideas for integrating one of these. Let's see. Kathleen, do you want to lead us in a little reflection?
Yeah, so I hope that you had a chance to, that you had enough time to actually look at the resource and get some quick ideas for how you might take this and kind of build out on what you find, or sort of build, take this and put it into something that you're already doing, and extending learner skills in some way. So I see we have comments here from Stacy is still writing. David, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the union jobs apprenticeships section of that website. Would you be interested in talking about that a little bit, David?
Hi, I took a very quick peek at it. I noticed that it was the AFL-CIO's website. I'm familiar with it. But yes, because of the industry that I personally teach in, I would definitely discuss labor unions and the like, because one of the best jobs in my trade are with the union here in Washington, D.C. And I like talking about labor rights personally. That's one thing I would tell them about, and encourage them to do their own research on, say, the history of labor rights and activism in this country. I'm pushing towards that direction, but of course also tell them the benefits of working for a private company or for the public sector as well. So
yeah, so that's one other option, and the reason why I added that in there is because I was looking through some of the government websites, and I didn't see listed on even construction jobs, which, most of them, many of them are labor union jobs, bricklayers and all of that. And I didn't notice that. So this was all I could find to put in about, so you may have to go to something like an AFL-CIO website to find that. But yeah, and oftentimes I find learners know about that. They're like, how do you get into the union? How do you get a union apprenticeship? So having that available for them is really helpful. Thank you. Cheryl, I wondered if you wouldn't mind sharing a bit more about what you wrote about my skills, my future.
Hi, hello, yes.
Cheryl.
Nice to meet all of you.
Yes.
I work with young adults. I'll call it from high school to college, and this is a tool I had not been exposed to. And what I saw through watching the video, that a lot of times our young people don't know how to, when they're writing a resume, to um, talk about their transferable skills. And so what I saw was this would be a good tool to use to help them to think about what they've already gained in their work experience and how those skills are transferable into another career, another job, another industry. So that's what I really liked about that. My skills, my future.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beth, I wondered if you could talk about, I know you jumped in a few places, but we'd love to hear something from the people who looked at some of the career planning resources. So I'm not sure if you looked at Be a Smart Consumer of Education or Don't Take No for an Answer, or both.
I think I was looking at Don't Take No for an Answer. And I think if they list questions, and I was thinking, because I had mentioned earlier that informational interviews is something that I'd like to include more of. So it just reminded me of a way that we could, have students, because I feel like students get very nervous when you talk about, okay, you need to go to an organization, and just, even though there's no job on the line, I think recording themselves first on Flipgrid or anything like that, where they can practice, listen to themselves, correct any grammar, but then, reflect with a partner and think, how would you change this? Would be a good way for them to feel more comfortable once they actually do enter an office or a Zoom meeting with someone else.
Great. Yeah. And they're also building language skills and digital skills, right? Using Flipgrid. So that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I think so Stacy's written something here that I'm just going to read in the interest of time. She said for Road Trip Nation, thinking about how to use the connect the dots approach by asking learners to look at past steps and linking them into a coherent narrative that can be used in interviews if needed to describe their path thus far, particularly if there are places where a mother might have stayed home to care for children. About the critical thinking and transferable skills gained during that period, right? And to put that into a narrative and interviews for future employers. Great, thank you so much. So that about wraps up today. I hope you'll continue to look at these resources and add to the Google Doc for everybody's benefit.
I wanted to take a second, Kathleen, to remind people again about the survey that's Tracy just posted into the chat. So that'll just take you a minute to complete. So please open that up and complete. That's going to help the whole team to continue to develop future professional development like this one. And we are going to make sure you have all of these resources as well as that Google document that you can use anytime. Hopefully you come back to it and take a longer look at some of those resources. The integrating career awareness, we're going to make sure that Stacy has for the Wakelet. I don't know if we've sent you that exact document, so we will, Stacy, so you can add that. As well as the CUNY career kits and the personal and workplace success skills library. So those are 3 resources we want to make sure that you have. And please be in touch. You have our email addresses here, and we really appreciate this invitation that has been offered to us to come and do this mini professional development institute with you. So thank you to Michelle, Dr. Bruce, and Stacy, Tracy, Cynthia, the whole team. It's been a real joy to work with you, and all of you who participated today. It's been really nice to get to know you.
Thank you so much, and best of luck, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you for participating.
Thanks. Bye.